I can't believe I have to say this, but Palestinian people are not disposable. We are human beings, just like anyone else. My city, my grandmother, like all Palestinians, just wants to live her life with freedom and human dignity we all deserve. Speaking up to save lives, Mr. Chair, no matter faith, no matter ethnicity, should not be controversial in this chamber. The cries of the Palestinian and Israeli children sound no different to me. Why? What I don't understand is why the cries of Palestinians sound different to you all.
The lone Palestinian member of Congress was censured, with 22 Democrats joining Republicans in the vote.
But let me be clear. My criticism has always been of the Israeli government and Netanyahu's actions.
My Jewish values teach me to oppose apartheid.
It is important to separate people and governments, Mr. Chair. No government is beyond criticism. The idea that criticizing the government of Israel is anti-Semitic sets a very dangerous precedent, and it's being used to silence diverse voices speaking up for human rights across our nation.
If we know that if somehow a population of Jewish refugees ended up in West Bank and Gaza, and an Arabic government in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv had an open-air prison in Jewish Gaza, which they bombed with white phosphorus, they killed civilians indiscriminately, and they had no provisions for medicine. They had an embargo that blocked food, that electricity wasn't running, that there was an over 48% unemployment rate, life expectancy and malnutrition statistics were horrifying. One of the major policymakers in this hypothetical Arabic Palestinian state said, we need to put those Jews on a diet. In the West Bank, there was another Jewish area where there was a little bit more autonomy, but there was regular Arabic settlements where they pulled up the Jewish farmers' foods, they terrorized them with rocks, the security forces broke children's bones, and they couldn't drive on their own roads. We'd all have no problem understanding what that was.
So the House voting to censure Representative Rashida Tlaib.
Speaking up to save lives, Mr. Chair, no matter faith, no matter ethnicity, should not be controversial in this chamber. The cries of the Palestinian and Israeli children sound no different to me. Why? What I don't understand is why the cries of Palestinians sound different to you all.
In what has become the laughingstock of this country, the United States House of Representatives voted to censure Rashida Tlaib. AIPAC, a lobbying group working for the government of Israel, has had heavy influence on American politics. Maybe it should be called a stranglehold, actually. They have funded United States politicians for decades and oppose any form of Palestinian liberation. Thus, when it came to a vote, over 20 Democrats, majority of whom received money from AIPAC, voted to censure her. In sports, a familiar name added more controversy.
Well, we're going to turn right now to look at a billionaire who owns casinos, facing a pending lawsuit, and has a reputation for launching attacks on journalists. No, we're not talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about Dan Gilbert, owner of Quicken Loans.
If the name Gilbert sounds familiar...
Gary Gilbert, the kids are all right?
That's because Gary is the brother of Cleveland Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert. He is, per his bio, part owner of the Cavs. Gilbert, seen here on the far right, aligns with, well, the far right when it comes to this issue. And when it comes to Representative Tlaib, he'd write on his Twitter, yes, Rashida Tlaib is a vile terrorist sympathizer. She's an animal, he would write. This follows the exact rhetoric from Israeli officials who have used this language to dehumanize Palestinian people, who have made up lies in order to manufacture consent in what they are doing to civilians, the kids. And yet Gilbert, a producer, co-producer of La La Land, co-owner of the Cavs, co-owner of Rocket Mortgage, somehow faces no retribution whatsoever. now in LA.
I just graduated high school and I had some time in between going to the army.
When former IDF soldier turned Hollywood actor Gal Gadot organized a screening of what one outlet called propaganda favoring the Israeli state, calls for protests gained traction on social media. It likely doesn't help that I-24 News, which serves as the media arm to Benjamin Netanyahu and the Knesset in Israel, reported Gadot made efforts to illuminate the ongoing conflict by helping to organize a screening of a 47-minute video provided by the IDF. Guy Nativ, an Israeli filmmaker who has been propped up by the American media arm, told I-24 that Gadot and her husband helped make this possible. When calls for a protest surfaced by J-Town Action, a grassroots organization dedicated to activism and building community, Gilbert would DM the following. This is atrocious. "We will be armed and ready for you cowardly punks this Wednesday." He doubled down. "We're armed and ready for you punks. We don't have an ounce of fear." If one were to frequent the Cavs owner's timeline, they would be horrified if they were informed on anything. Bari Weiss, Ben Shapiro, Michael Rappaport, and Oil London fill it with retweets and likes. When one Twitter user, whose name is Jake Novak, claimed Jewish students were locked in a school library because of what they labeled a pro-Hamas rally, Gilbert replied, and I quote, "Time to buy a gun," adding, "These Jew hatred-spewing college kids just need a good punch in the face. They'll cower like the little punks they are." I am yet to hear a single thing from the National Basketball Association, from Adam Silver, from the Cleveland Cavaliers, from Rocket Mortgage. We'll keep you posted.